Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near you, your dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
My name is Clay Clark, and you're watching His Glory.
And we want to welcome all of His Glory Nation from east to west to north to south. Welcome to today's Take 5. We have Rick Hill in the house with us today. We're going to talk to Rick about his health story and being cured of cancer. So we'll get him on in just a moment. First, a couple quick updates. His Glory Crypto. You know the crypto. President Trump wants to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. 2 ways to handle your crypto now through His Glory Crypto. One, we have the algorithms that manage your accounts and your 401k and IRAs through the algorithms, know when to sell, when to buy, to protect the ups and downs of crypto. But now, first time ever, we're opening up for no minimums. You can get into crypto, your XRP, whatever you want to do, and learn the crypto way through His Glory Crypto. So go take this QR code. They're all American people that you'll be talking to, not any places in India. But here's a great way to get involved in crypto. Many prophetic voices. Crypto's going off the chart. All right. Chronology, my go-to sleep every night. Buy one, get one free. Free shipping. Great stuff. Again, they also have pet products. Boaz has used their Cowboy Up, and he is running like a champion bull once again. And Cowboy Up had a lot to do with that. So get Chronology and get Cowboy Up brand for all your pets. The Chronology is for humans, but it works on animals too. But the Cowboy Up is for all the pets. All right, Luxury for a Cause. Donate your high-end items to support His Glory Ministry. Mission to bring 1 billion souls to Christ. We are accepting high-end bags, jewelry, clothing. If you feel the tug of your heart to donate, go to hisglory.me, donate, or scan the QR code today to make a difference. All right, those are our updates. It's time for Rick. Rick, welcome to His Glory.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah, so why don't you tell our audience your story? Absolutely amazing story.
Well, it started back in 1974, and I was an assistant pastor in New Ulm, Minnesota. And suddenly I felt pain in my groin area, and I went to the doctor, and they shuffled me around for a while. And one doctor said, "No, I'm going to send you over to Mayo Clinic, a couple-hour drive, but this could be a problem." And I went to the Mayo Clinic, had 8.5 hours of exploratory surgery. Not curative at all, but the design was, they didn't have scans back then. Remember, 1974. And they came back when I came to a couple days later. They had me on morphine, and I mean, it was just a mess. And they said, unfortunately, we found cancer in your entire body. It's in your lymphatic system. And so we found it in your feet when we operated there. We found it up on your neck up here when we operated there. So it is systemic. And, we got to start chemotherapy as soon as we can because it's really problematic. And Pastor, if you, and I know you do, you believe that God is in charge. That night, a fellow pastor who was also a John Birch Society advocate, which is kind of like MAGA, but on steroids.
Yeah.
And he got a hold of me and said, sent me a letter, 13-cent stamp. And he said, if you want to live, you're going to have to leave the Mayo Clinic. And his phone number was there. I called him up and I said, John Valentine, John, I'm at the Mayo Clinic, man. I've got good insurance. They did all the modern medicine, He said, yeah, I agree with that. They probably are, but I'm not sure that it's medicine that you need at this point. And I said, oh, really? What do you think I need? He said, there are clinics around the world that understand the immune system, and they're not just doling drugs. And I said, okay, where might one of those be? He said, are you sitting down? Someone says that. You know you don't want to hear the next. I said, all right, John, where would you like me to go? He said, well, the good news is you fly to San Diego. Who doesn't like San Diego? And I said, and then you catch a bus down to Tijuana. And I said, John, I'm not against Tijuana. I grew up in Detroit. I'm not throwing rocks at anybody. But I'm just not seeing them as a medical mecca. Okay? I'm just not. And he said, Rick, let me give you some phone numbers. Here's a couple of patients that have been there and the phone number for a doctor. You can talk to him. And I agreed to do that. So I called a couple of patients, all of whom gave me a glowing report. Well, what would you expect? You think he'd give me people that hated it? And so then I called Dr. Contreras, Ernesto. And I said, here's what they told me. Embryonal cell carcinoma, high grade. And he said, yeah, you're very, very sick. And he said, let me put it this way. If you're going to come down here, are you willing to do everything we're going to ask you to do? I said, I don't know, Doc. I mean, what if tomorrow you say, let's hang you by your toenails. Let's see if that'll work. I mean, I don't know. No, he said, I'm a medical doctor. I worked at Boston's Children's Hospital. I'm a mainstream guy. But we discovered a nutritional ingredient that's been used for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, and it's just really working for people. Will you do what we ask you to do, diet-wise and all that? And I said, my church has now anteed up, and they're going to pay my way down there. So I will do what I'm asked to do. But I got to tell you, to leave the Mayo Clinic, and what is this? Just in a word, what is this cure? He says, well, they start with apricots. And I'm thinking, okay, we got apricots going in, IVs. And then what? And he said, well, we use an enzyme that prepares a cell for your immune system to attack it, a cancer cell. And he went through this short explanation. And I said, Doc, I got to call my chemotherapist at the Mayo Clinic and discuss it with him. So I hung up, called the chemotherapist. I said, I'm thinking about going to Tijuana. And I said, if you were me, what would you do? And he pushed back in his chair and he looked at me and he said, it is warm in Tijuana this time of year. In other words, Pastor, they're not going to help me. They don't think Tijuana is going to help me. I might as well sit on the beach and sip, I don't know, tequila. I don't know what they thought. But that was the introduction.
Wow. So what happens? Yeah. What happens next?
Well, my family was in town to say goodbye. They all flew in, first flight out type thing, because the doctor said in 60 days, your lymphatic system is going to deliver these cells to every cancer or every organ, and they'll fail then. He said, so you better get your family here as fast as you can. So I did. After dinner that night, I stood up, I said, I'm thinking about leaving the Mayo Clinic and going to a clinic in Tijuana. And I looked around the room. To a person, my family went. And my brother Sam Hill, if you can believe that, he said, Ricky, we always knew you were stupid. We just didn't know how bad it was. He says, if you leave the Mayo Clinic, I will never speak to you again. He said, Sam, if I don't leave the Mayo Clinic, you may never get to speak to me again. So I went all around the room to get their take. It was all the negative. I learned more swear words in about 5 minutes than I learned growing up on the streets of Detroit. My family is very demonstrative. And I got to my father-in-law, who stood up and he said, here's a guy standing in the gap. He said, I like it. I will take him down there and I will help pay for it. I said, deal. And 2 days later, we left for Tijuana, Mexico, left the Mayo Clinic. Did not have their chemotherapy, did not have radiation. That was 50 years ago.
Wow.
And even today, I've had no chemo, no radiation. I only use 3 products to get well. Just 3 products that are available to your viewers. So it isn't complicated. You know what? That's what's wrong with it, if I can say that.
Yep.
It is so simple. And that no one, they listen to you and they cock their head a little and they go, well, my doctor would know about this if it was any good. No, he wouldn't, because they got to the medical schools and said, don't teach this garbage.
Yep. They
got to me. I had to smuggle this stuff out of Tijuana after my treatment. So it was a
Rick,
world.
We're going to pick.
I'm Jonathan Rose, CEO of Genesis Gold Group. With the uncertainty facing our economy, it is more important than ever to safeguard your wealth and protect your retirement savings. As the national debt grows and the government continues to devalue your hard-earned savings, physical assets like gold and silver can provide stability, security, and peace of mind. Genesis Gold Group helps our clients transfer existing IRAs or other retirement accounts into physical gold and silver, tax and penalty-free. Now is the time to educate yourself on the importance of including gold and silver. Call now to receive our free wealth protection kit and digital dollar defense guide. Prepare yourself with what experts predict will be the most essential asset class of our lifetime. Call now and we'll include our extremely popular silver prepper bar free when you open your account. Add it to your IRA or have it sent to your home. Call Genesis Gold Group today at 800-200-GOLD, only available through Genesis Gold Group.
Mac Baron Cheese, Healthy Kids Vitamins. You want your kids to have the best, so why not the best vitamins? These vitamins were developed by people you can trust, not by big pharmaceutical companies out for profits. Essential nutrients for growth, development, and immunity. With a great berry flavor that your kids will love. Keep your kids strong, healthy, and on the go with Mac Baron Cheese, Healthy Kids Vitamins. Get yours today at hisglory.me.
All right, amazing. Rick Hill, we're talking in the break. 50 years, 1974, this event happened, and how we've been hoodwinked in our medical system. I don't think we really started realizing, more people until COVID-19 happened and these doctors that stuck up. But go ahead and finish the story. So your father-in-law takes you to Tijuana. People are thinking in your family think you're crazy, which happens a lot in my family too. Take it from there.
Well, it was, your viewers need to know that they don't need to be a tree hugger, a stone ground health food fanatic to get the benefit from this. And even more so, I was a Detroit greaser when I grew up, with the Fonz hairdo, the whole thing. and this health food crowd, I did not grok. I just didn't identify with it. And I thought they were extremists and kind of a clique, I don't want to use the word cult, but a clique. And the first health food store I went to in San Diego, oh my gosh, it was Ravi Shankar music playing in the background, people filching food out of barrels. One guy next to me picked up whatever it was he was holding and went, "Oh, I can feel it." I'm thinking, me too, get me out of here. And it was just, this, and then you get the crowd that says, you gotta believe. Unless you believe that you're going to get well, you won't, and all that. Raise your hand if you think that I thought leaving the Mayo Clinic and going to Tijuana to get apricot oil injected in my veins. Raise your hand if you think that's what I thought. This is a great idea. I didn't think it was a great idea.
So the question is then, what made you do it? What made you go to Tijuana?
Two things. One, an honest chemotherapist at the Mayo Clinic who leaned back in his chair and he said, well, it is warm in Tijuana this time of year. He delivered the message without putting his job in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, that door kind of just squeaked closed. And then secondly, Dr. Contreras was very compelling on the phone when I talked to him. He said, if you're willing to work with us, he said, Rick, this is participatory medicine. If you don't help us bring your immune system back online, we will fail. And you won't get well. But if you'll follow our instructions and work with us on this, it's very likely you will do well. Not guaranteed, but likely. And that's the best news I had.
Yeah.
And then my father-in-law said he would take me. The First Baptist Church got behind me and said, yeah, we'll pay. So those were road signs that even though my faith wasn't enough at that point, theirs was. And we all need that, don't we?
Yeah,
we all need people to believe in us and what we're doing. And I was sick. I weighed 120 pounds at this point. I had a 16-inch scar from exploratory surgery.
Wow.
And they had me on morphine. Now I got off of the morphine, tried tapering down quickly to leave for Mexico. I mean, I was one hurting puppy.
Yeah.
And so, no, it didn't sound like a good idea. And if your viewers are going, is he crazy? Why would Pastor bring a crazy guy on this program? You don't leave the Mayo Clinic and go to Tijuana. You don't do that. Well, maybe if that clinic knows how to bring my immune system into the fight. And the way they do that is really interesting. Enzymes, mainly enzymes, with chymotrypsin in them, and trypsin. In a sentence, cancer cells protect themselves with a film of protein. Did it when your mother was carrying you at 2 months. You were filled with these trophoblast cells to the point where it would have killed you and it would have killed your mother. In other words, part of that rapid growth process that a child goes through in their mother's womb. But at 2 months, your mother, from her pancreas, flooded her body with these enzymes.
Wow. And
it killed off that rapid growth cell, that cancer-like cell. So you didn't die, your mom didn't die, and we have that same opportunity today because some things bring that growth back, either toxins or injury or, all the things that people say can cause cancer. we can bring that back by taking these. I've got one here. Here's what I do on the lid. 10 and 2. I take these pro-enzymes between meals at 10 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock. And on my cell phone, I have the alarm set. So at 10 o'clock, I throw 2 or 3 of those in my mouth. And at 2 o'clock, I throw some in, because it isn't meat I ate that I'm trying to digest. It's that coating that may be on cells in my body. And when that happens, my own immune system attacks and sees them. This is like a drama, wartime. And I did that. Then the B17 is a backup program, the apricot cure. It's got a little bit of cyanide in it, but it's only released at the site of those cancer cells. I took up to 6 grams, not milligrams, 6 grams a day intravenously of the liquid B17.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I didn't so much as get a headache from it. You know, it was just a little box thing, and they would put them into the syringe and give it to me. And hair didn't fall out, didn't throw up, didn't run a fever. I was weak and really at 120 pounds. I wasn't going anywhere on a treadmill. So I had a ways to go. But my body joined the fight after.
Wow.
That's what happened. And that God created ability. That's in each, you know, it says, I'll give you the seeds for you to get well. And these are just, I've got a bowl of them here. And I eat these throughout the day. Not a lot of them, but let's see, let me get in front of the camera here. I'm not doing a very good job of that. But anyway, they look like almonds.
Yeah.
I'll hold one of them up and it'll give you a scale. But they look like a little almond. And that's what's on the interior of an apricot pit. And they get those out. I eat about 6 of those a day. Doesn't cost very much. And I take 1 of the capsules, and I take about 2 or 3, maybe 6 of the enzymes a day. Dirt cheap, and my body is going, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. If I had taken the chemo, it depresses my immune system. What is that about? You know, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just amazing. As you mentioned, God has created everything in our bodies to sustain us, to heal us. You know, I look at K2 when you're a baby's just born, the perfect amount of blood. So if you circumcise, they won't bleed out or clot up. I mean, he's thought of everything. So, you know, we only have about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. Rick, talk about why doctors aren't doing this, telling us these things. I know it's financial, but also what do you think Bobby Kennedy is going to do?
I think if they just give us freedom to choose, that's it. Trump, as we know, even in his last administration, talked about right to try.
Yep.
But it didn't go far enough. You know, there was still big industry moving against it, and those guys need to be beat with an organic wet noodle for a while until they give up. Because if there is history, and I have history, look at this book, World Without Cancer by Ed Griffin. Beautiful book. All the testing they did on what I took. And I'm with RNC, Richardson Nutritional Center, and your people can go to our website and get these 3 products that I talked about. It's called a bundle, and it's discounted. And they can also get a copy of my book. I've 100,000 people over the years have read this. Too Young to Die. And if they don't laugh at least once when they read it, I'll give their money back. I don't think cancer is funny, but I do think it's hilarious what modern medicine thinks they're doing. It just backfires. So I think there's a code even that your viewers can use called His Glory. And if they will put that at the end of their order, then they get a discount on our products. but it's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
The 70s, lots of people used this, and then our government squashed it, like they squashed Rife, like they squashed Nikola Tesla.
Yep.
But we're rearing our ugly head again, and we're coming. So thank God a lot of people are going to get well. And thank you for having the guts to bring crazy people like me that would leave the Mayo Clinic. Yeah. And by the way, I didn't show you real quickly. I know we're going to be done in a minute, but that's what I looked like back then.
Wow.
Yeah. What didn't I answer?
Well, that's just amazing. Gives people hope. You know, again, giving glory to God. God has it all creation. Everything we need is in his creation and nature. And we just have to rely on him and have truth come out. And we pray that Bobby Kennedy breaks through and starts getting these doctors to look at the whole body. Because I'm another one that went through that. I survived botulism toxin and I left the Cleveland Clinic. I didn't listen to what the Cleveland Clinic tried to tell me. They said I'd never be healed again. And I went to all natural sources similar to what you've done, Rick. And it helped me. I'll let you get the last word.
Well, I want your listeners to know that they don't have to be someone they're not to get well with this. They don't have to buy the whole concept. They just need to take the next step. And